Podcasts work great to turn customers into superfans, but repurposing your podcast episode into a blog post is also a great content marketing strategy. Implementing this strategy can help you reach a wider audience by publishing blog and podcast content through different channels. It will also allow you to leverage podcast directories and streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple to boost your brand's visibility and attract new audiences. And it's also going to help you improve your website's SEO through embedding episodes on your blog post and allowing search engines to find them easily. And that's really just the tip of the iceberg in terms of benefits. Believe it or not, repurposing content is one of the secret weapons for most of the top businesses and marketing platforms you follow and love, including us. So let me show you how to easily turn your podcasts into blog posts. Step one is to obviously have a podcast episode that you want to transcribe. Once you have one, look for a voice-to-text transcription service that you're comfortable with. I've used Otter.ai in the past and it worked pretty well for me. If by any chance you use or you have access to Adobe's Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve, those tools will be able to generate a transcript for you at no extra cost. Google Gemini also has an option to generate text from audio. Just find one that isn't too pricey and that you're comfortable with. Once you have a transcription like the one I have, I would do two things. First, let's face it, not many people are going to want to read a transcript that looks like this. Some may, but most people I would say would prefer to read an actual blog post that's a little bit easier on the eyes and that is accompanied by images and graphics and such. So in order to make everyone happy, including search engines, I would do the following. Perfect. So I'm in the back end of my WordPress website, and here's what we're going to do. There's a couple of things that I have open up. Here I have a tab open with the latest episode of Paulina Marinova's The Profile. This is a podcast that I regularly listen to. It's really fun. I really like it. And what I want to do is, if you are hosting your podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or even SoundCloud, you can embed podcast episodes by typically hitting that share icon that here you can see inside Apple Podcasts, for example. You can copy the embed code from here, and we're going to use that code to embed the podcast episode on our website. Now, it's important to note that if you're powering your website with Thrive Theme Builder, something cool that I really like that comes with all Thrive Theme Builder themes is that you have the ability to create what we like calling audio posts. Audio posts are types of blog posts that feature your audio file or your podcast episode towards the very top, and you can customize the design. You would simply stick your SoundCloud URL or your Spotify URL, or if you're hosting your podcast episode, you can just grab a custom URL and stick it in here. And as you're going to see now in Thrive Theme Builder, we can completely customize the design of our audio post. Let's go into Manage Templates. Let's pick out all of our blog post templates. And here we have our default audio post. This is the design that comes with Peak, one of the latest themes that came out for Thrive Theme Builder. And here you can see how the featured audio would show up towards the very top. Pretty neat. Now, for the sake of powering through this example, let's just assume that we're creating a new blog post. We're going to call it Audio Test. Let's hit publish and let's fire up this blog post with Thrive Architect. Like I said, you can use either a regular blog post design or you could use your audio post that comes with Thrive Theme Builder as well. In this case, we're simply going to be using our regular blog post design. And what we're going to do is we're going to insert our embed code using an HTML widget. Here we're going to stick in the code and here it is. Let's hit save. And here is our podcast episode embedded on our site. This is probably the first thing that we want to do, right? Just simply embed our podcast episode into our blog post. And that takes care of probably the most important step. Now, we do want to give people the opportunity to read the transcript. Like I said, most people are probably not going to make use of that option, but I have spoken. I remember talking to Kit Lachlan from Stretch Therapy not too long ago, and he was telling me, man, Tony, I'm a speed reader. Unless I'm driving or I'm on the road or on the boat, I really enjoy reading through transcripts because I can get through them much faster. So it's nice to be able to offer that option to some of your listeners. And don't ignore the huge potential of having all of those massive keywords that comes with your transcription available for search engines to index. That is something that not many people think about, that, it could definitely help you in your SEO efforts. So what I like doing is using the toggle element underneath my podcast episode. I'm just simply going to break this into one column. I'm going to edit the toggle, and I'm going to hit expand on the first one, and I'm going to call this read the transcript. And here, let's make the text white so that it's clearly readable. And what I can do is simply grab my transcript and stick it in here. And boom. Okay, that would take care of having the transcript. Let's make sure that we can delete some of those unwanted toggles. And that's a very clean way of having the podcast episode embedded and the transcription underneath it. Now, how do we actually turn the transcript into a blog post that is readable, that is friendly on the eyes, and that actually has chances of having people read through it? Well, what I would personally do is take the same transcript and leverage AI. Look, it's 2024. We should start embracing artificial intelligence as much as we can. How do we do that in this scenario? Well, we're simply going to ask ChatGPT, hey, can you please help me turn the following transcript into a well-optimized SEO blog post? Let's stick in the transcript and let's see what I can do with it. And boom, it is literally taking my conversation that I had with Valentina Manini. It didn't take the name incorrectly, I can tell that. But from what I can tell, it's doing a pretty good job of summarizing the conversation and making it and presenting it into a format that is clearly readable. I would probably go in and, take screenshots of her website, stick them in there, and so forth and so on, so that the blog post isn't just a long wall of text, but instead is something that is actually fun and engaging to read. So let's copy the text, jump back into the blog post, and stick it in there. Let's make this white. And I would probably spend a little bit of time as well customizing the font style and so forth and so on. But this is a very quick way of making sure that we have a good podcast episode embedded on our blog post. We have a transcript for it with a lot of keywords inside. And we have a well-optimized post as well accompanying these two things. And boom, that's how I would personally go about turning a podcast episode into a complete, well-optimized blog post. It's not meant to be a super time-consuming process, perhaps 10 to 15 minutes or so. But the repercussions of repurposing your podcast episode in this way can be very positive for your business. Let me know down in the comments section below if you're already doing this or if you're repurposing your podcast episodes in a different way. There's a link in the description box that you can click on if you want to learn more about building your online business with Thrive Suite. And I appreciate your time. Catch you soon. Thanks again. Bye.